For the longest while, I've been contemplating doing this and really getting it active. And I've had a lot on my schedule between stopping the work I was doing with the company I was with and then taking my financial reserves and starting three businesses centered around skills and gifts I've been given naturally. But more so than anything else, this project is something I've wanted to do for a very long time. And I'm still getting around, editing videos and combining audios and getting backgrounds and all that other stuff. But I thought now more than ever, I really wanted to make this particular video because it's been lingering in the back of my mind since 2014. And getting it all together, I thought a lot of the content and material that's going to come out is not really going to have my face on it. But if you're able to scroll down the timelines at whatever period, you should be able to know who is the founder and the person who started it. So MLVNG, as it stands for, Momentum Leverage Vision for New Growth, is a project that started when I was at my low point. I had run my business into the ground. I had a logistics company, online based, and this was almost a decade ago now. And things were going very well because people had, at the time, not yet discovered the effectiveness of the internet. So a lot of their purchases and stuff that they made and moving things around, I got to capitalize on the collective ignorance of the people in my area. Looking back, obviously, retrospectively, it makes a lot more sense. But when a lot of these new outfitters really came by, I just found the ground being knocked out from under my feet, and I couldn't stand. I remember being on the phone call with my accountant, and he told me that we were in liquidation and that whatever we were going to be able to get from the auction of just the vehicles and the equipment and stuff, we were not going to be able to cover all the expenses. Fast forward to me having to sell my vehicle and just spiraling into a depression, and then that leading to my relationship at the time just bombing out. I decided to take the little bit of pride that I had left and travel, really, because I'm not the suicidal type. Life is just too interesting for me to do so. So I remember at the time I recorded a little audio for myself that I started listening to over and over and over again until I had committed it to memory. And step by step, I was able to climb out of that. And now I'm at the point where I'm really ready to move into the next phase of my life and let this be a manifestation of the man I've become and the body of work I've had to put in into my physiology, physically, into my mental health, be it the material I was consuming or the mentors I had to consult and the consultation sessions I had with father figures, my own father being one of them, and guidance figures. But spiritually, it's been very daunting. So I believe sitting at this table with you, looking back and reminiscing over the hours, the days, the weeks, the months, the years that have gone past, you feel like a drunk person who's been at the helm of this ship that is your life. There's nothing, absolutely nothing, and I mean nothing in this world that can derail you, that can stop you, that can take your energy from you, that can make you give up, that can make you give in, that can make you stumble, that can make you fall, that can make you betray your own values and deceive yourself. You're on a level where you need to half your speed. Whatever speed you are going at, you need to half that. You need to triple your failures because your failures are lessons, and you need to multiply your capacity to be productive even in the face of no results, absolute disgust, absolute overwhelming lack of desire for anything, in the face of apathy, in the face of fatigue. The secret is the consistency and the persistence that you have to have in believing something, even before you're able to visualize and see the manifestations of your work. The plan is everything. You and me, we don't really matter. Who you think you are, your size, your position, your perceived value, none of it really matters, objectively speaking. Look, there's no actual point to any of this. You want to call it a game, you want to call it a trip, you want to call it a ride, call it an experience, call it whatever you want to call it. There's really no subjective or objective point you can show me. There's no rules, there's no boundaries. And even in the worst, even being locked up in maximum isolation, with no parole, no human contact, given a life sentence that with no chance of parole, even there, you've still got the capacity to live the best life that you can. You just have to follow the rules. And what are the rules? You need to act first. You need to take action wherever you are in that moment. Don't question it. Don't overthink it. Don't try to rationalize it. You have to act first. And in whatever you decide to act first, you need to make sure that you finish strong. You finish with the same energy and enthusiasm that you started with absolute power. And you make sure that that path that you take from starting that action and finishing whatever it is the finish line looks like for you, you walk in absolute truth. I always find it hard in my personal experiences that I cannot get forward when I'm being deceitful to myself and the people around me. You need to be honest. And this idea that you have an identity that somehow matters to the world, you're an avatar. The world was here first. And you're on a level where no one will ever really know you the way you feel you know yourself. They all take little bits of you that they feel like they want. And you don't actually exist outside of the sphere that even you think. The amount of blind spots that you have, the amount of weaknesses that you have, the amount of indiscrepancies that are just because you are a human being, you cannot even imagine. So abandon all of those perceptions that you've been carrying right now and follow the keys. And what are the keys? They're very, very simple. The rules, you know this. Number one, you have to act first. Number two, you have to finish strong. Number three, you have to walk in truth. And number four, you have to let go of all fear. Absolutely no fear. Apart from that of what you consider to be God or your higher power or whatever gives you the peace of being able to justify your presence here. Fear nothing else. Don't fear people. Don't fear the words that they may say on you. Don't fear taking the risks that are necessary to get to where you need to get to. Don't fear the isolation and the shame that comes along with it. And the code, the personal code that I found that always works for me, I can always summarize in 3 points. You act with intention. Number one, like acting with intention has been a salvation point for me, because sometimes at that depressive state, you don't find the reason to even take the action when you're looking at the end goal as the outcome or the justification. But when you act with intention, when you say, my intention for this action is the action itself, as simple as that may be, it's a salvation point. So that is very important, to act with intention. Secondly, you have to speak with conviction. And speaking with conviction means saying those words, saying those things that make you or make the people around you uncomfortable at times. But you know, even if no one else does. You know that that is what you had to say or not say in that moment, because the conviction is what allows you to do it with the full understanding that this at this moment, at this focal point in my life, I need conviction to be the driving force behind me. Because if you don't have conviction, you're going to flake a lot of the time. You're going to start something and you're not going to be able to finish it. And I think the third one of that code is being able to live with a purpose. And for me, obviously, I'm not going to share my particular purpose right now, but you have to define for yourself what your purpose is. Do you want to climb Everest? Do you want to open a Fortune 500 company? Do you want to send your kids to university? Do you want to have the most amazing wedding in your family? Do you want to be the first person to go to university? Whatever. It's yours. And that was a liberating point for me to realize that my purpose is not tied into anyone else. It's not tied into anything else. No religious sect, not my family, not my culture. It's mine. I have to define that purpose for myself. And it's very, very simple. And perhaps that simplicity is what makes it so hard. And outside of that, every day it needs no more than basic accomplishments, simple, small, large, whatever they may be. But it just needs to be simple enough that every day has a tangible achievement done over and over and over, consistently enough to the degree where everything you can imagine that's staring you in the face, you can just look back at it and you can understand that it's your perception, it's your valuation of it, it's your value system that determines just how much an interaction is worth. You can walk away from anything. You can walk away from anyone at any time with no reason, with no justification, just because you want to. You don't have to contemplate it. You don't have to consider it. You don't have to consider the effects of things, because you don't know the effects until it happens. All that matters is that you're present. You're fully present in every moment, and you're fully aware of who you are. And you're fully aware of the fact that you have an effect. Now, you don't know the extent to which this effect is going to reach. So don't even bother questioning it. Don't even bother getting into the feelings, because the feelings, they're subjective, they're suggestions. Something comes at you and says, maybe this breakup should make you feel sad right now. Or maybe this money should make you feel excited right now. You have the objective capacity to just ignore all that noise and just be. You don't need the high status. You don't need to worry about the fact that you may be a low, reject of society. You don't have to worry about the physical pain, the emotional isolation, the mental torture. You don't have to worry about any of that. You really don't have to. In this very moment right here, you are where you need to be. Forget about the fact that you need to accomplish whatever it is you feel like you need to accomplish. Forget that you need to get to wherever you felt like you need to get to. Just forget all of that for a minute and make a plan. Follow the plan. Adjust the plan accordingly, and understand that nothing ever actually gets done 100% the way you thought it was going to get done. It always gets done differently and in a different way. But only if you believe in yourself enough and you decide from this very moment onwards, remove yourself from that source that has been giving you the doubt, the anxiety, the fear, the hesitation, the procrastination, the inability to move, the lack of motion. You cut yourself off from that source of scarcity and you plug into abundance. You plug into a higher power, into Yahweh, into Elohim. You plug into an almighty power, a God, a presence that's been there since the beginning of time, that's going to be here till the end of time, who knows and sees and manifests all in the right time, in the right moment of choosing, at that point of discretion, at his full capacity and grace, and just understand his favor. And plug into understanding that you don't lack opportunity. You don't lack access. You don't lack anything. You don't lack the capacity to be 100% at any given moment, without any excuses. You need to seek the truth and understand that eternity is going to require all of us equally. And you do this, you do not defend meaningless ideologies. You do not explain your actions to people that have no input. You do not make excuses about your incapacity to take actions, and you don't rationalize foolish behavior. And in the face of once everything has been said and done, there exists only action. And you become, or you are worth, the sum total of everything you've been doing, how well you've been doing, and the degree of difficulty the world is going to need to replace how you were doing it. And in whatever you do, you just understand these basic principles and you apply that, not just as an ideology, but as the way to life. So, bless up. This is where I begin my journey with you. This is where I end my incapacity to move. And being strong is a must, because in the classical words, it never gets easier. You just get better. You just become a much more proficient being. And moving into that higher power, for me, it's been daunting. It's very scary to put yourself out in the world like this, to be unprepared and just say, hey, you know, I've been given this gift. And right now, irrespective of all the noise that's going on in my life, I am feeling this force that's compelling me to step up to the plate and say that whatever this journey is going to manifest as, and whoever is going to manifest themselves as somebody who's willing to take the journey, I'm ready. And there's a lot of material that's going to come out in the form of audios, videos, and books. A lot of it has just been sitting on my laptop and on my desktop, and it's needed proofreading. And over the next few weeks, months, years, however long that the gods decide to keep me alive, I'm going to be putting that out. So, welcome to MLVNG. Welcome to my truth that I've come to discover through a lot of suffering. And if it's not for you, then it's not for you. This is not for everybody. I don't anticipate that it's going to be something that's going to somehow take the world by storm, but however far this journey takes me, and whoever is going to be along with me on the road, as I always say, go west and be free.